We're at Flowers and Bread in Clintonville for lunch. Like the name says, flowers are a big part of the experience, and co-owner Trisha Wheeler has brought her love of gardening and cooking together in one unique space. Stop by for a seasonal scone or sit down for a bowl of soup and a sandwich made with homemade artisanal bread. You can even take classes on how to make handmade pies or delights for a British tea. Michelle Misler is the director of the Franklin County Office on Aging. Patty Callahan is from the Central Ohio Area Agency on Aging. And Joella Klein is the Chief of Staff at the Franklin County Auditor's Office. We're here to talk about how to promote intergenerational living. From house sharing to independent living, how do we get the old and younger closer together? Now, we know that the older adult population in Franklin County is growing at a pretty fast rate. Now, what are some of the problems or challenges that seniors are facing when it comes to housing here in Franklin County, Patty?
Well, for most seniors, the seniors anyway that are contacting us at the Central Ohio Area Agency on Aging are primarily in housing crises. They're really being priced out of housing if they're living on just a modest Social Security income, or for some people it's a disability income, and those incomes don't really get any significant increases, and while the rents, because of our strong rental market, are continuing to go up.
When a senior or older adult is in crisis when it comes to housing, how are they accessing the resources, or how are they aware of the resources that they have available to them to deal with the issue?
So at the Franklin County Office on Aging, we operate a phone line that is resource-based. So any person over the age of 60 or their caregiver who needs services and resources can call our office at 614-525-6200 and get access to a live person who's going to help them navigate resources.
And then for adults, older adults who own their homes, another issue that has started pricing them out is rising property taxes. And so at the Franklin County Auditor's Office, we're interested in connecting older adults with our homestead exemption, which basically shaves $25,000 off the value of their home and lowers their property taxes.
The Central Ohio Area Agency on Aging has a small team of people, mostly social workers, who provide general information and assistance also on community resources. And so we are a good starting point, but we're not necessarily the answer, because the answer is more housing for people with extremely low incomes, and we just don't have it.
As our county explores options and we look at intergenerational living, how do we address the residential codes and some of the maybe barriers or boundaries to exploring that as an option?
With rooming houses, I think there are some limitations regarding numbers of occupants, probably based on the square footage of your home. And it's something that if intergenerational housing or rooming houses would become a solution for affordable housing for older adults, that's something that would have to be visited by Columbus City Council.
The other thing that I know the age-friendly Columbus and Franklin County is often in conversation about is a concept called accessible dwelling units. Mm-hmm. So building almost like a tiny home on the backside or in the yard of a larger home. So kind of a mother-in-law suite. Right. And sometimes I think, zoning.
That is a zoning issue.
Yeah, zoning issues do impact that type of a model, but are other parts of the country, those things are working. And so there's room for us to explore how to make that happen in Columbus, to determine if there's a market for folks to do that, if that's of interest. But I know that can be a solution, as well as home sharing.
Are there any other counties or communities or even cities in the state of Ohio that are making progress and headway into dealing with this issue that you all are aware of and paying attention to?
Well, I'm talking with a woman out in the Newark area who has some rooming houses, and she is renting to both seniors as well as college students. And I think that's a wonderful mix there. They just get to know each other's lives are like, mm-hmm. And can perhaps provide some informal support to each other too. So it'd be wonderful if we could get back to where people had a little more opportunities for socialization and that sort of thing.
Right. So it's not just a financial issue that we're talking about. It's about members of the community that actually care about them and forming new relationships.
Being able to ask your neighbor for some help with your cell phone, just things like that a younger person that, not to stereotype, but might be a little more tech savvy.
Right.
So.
One of the solutions that is working in Franklin County is the village model. So how do we get back to a community type of environment where we do rely upon our neighbors? And so older adults can connect into villages, which is essentially just older adults who want to be a part of a social network. They want to utilize volunteer services and things of that nature. But the one thing that we hear from older adults a lot is the importance of not compartmentalizing folks away from the other generations. So ensuring that when we build housing, when we think about housing solutions for older adults, that it's not, over here in the corner, that they're part of a community of many generations to share the learning.
And considering, I'm thinking about the housing that we're building and affordable housing that we're building, making it accessible to older adults is vital as well. And taking into consideration how people age and the challenges that they're going to come up against as they get older, taking that into account when you're actually building the affordable housing.
So when we talk about intergenerational living and house sharing, a lot of times we only think of it from the perspective of middle class people having those opportunities. How do we make that available or accessible to lower income earners?
I think that, the home sharing model really speaks to creating a model that's inclusive of all incomes. Those of means could be the renters to individuals, and it really creates an inclusivity that doesn't exist in our society today, where we co-share and co-live with folks of different means, and we just become humans living with humans. Personally, I think it's just a beautiful type of model if it's something that individuals are choosing, because we're all choosing to age in place. And that's the reality. That's different than it was 10, 15 years ago. And as that happens, we have to be thinking of solutions that are really addressing the new challenges that aging in place, creates. So.
Wonderful. Wow. Well, this has been an exciting conversation and encouraging. And, I love finding or discovering new reasons to be proud of our county and our city. And so I thank you all for sharing one more reason why I can call myself a proud resident of Franklin County and Columbus, Ohio. So I appreciate you all spending time with me today.
Thank you.
Absolutely.